Hello, change makers from across the world. Welcome you to the Pre-NPMI Masterclass 2025. It's exciting to be here with you. I am your amiable host, Director Oluwatoyin Banjo. So let us know where you're joining us from. We'd love to read your comments section, or rather read your comments, read your charts in the comment section. So shoot those responses. Let us know where you're joining us from. I am Director Toyin Banjo, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, in the heart of Africa. And we're excited to get onto this masterclass. We have our amiable speakers and guests in the room already, and we can't wait to delve into the exciting discourse. So let's read from you. Let's know where you're joining us from. Would love to read from you in the comment box. Let us know where you're joining us from. Okay? So, whilst we're having that come through, I will go ahead to have my very first speaker join us upstage um, in the person of Doreen Omosele. She's the founder and executive director of BGOF, Blossom Girls Outreach Foundation. And we're super excited about what we're about to get into. It's going to be a beautiful ride. Get your notepads, get a mug of tea or a glass of water, get your pens, and get ready to be immersed with light and wisdom to this afternoon or tonight, depending on the time zone or where you're joining us from. So, I have Doreen in the room with me. How are you doing, Doreen?
I'm fine. How you doing, Ma?
I'm
Good
very well,
evening.
thank you. It's exciting to have you with us. Doreen Omasela is one
Can you
of
hear
our.
me?
I can hear you clearly. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Doreen
Okay.
Omasela is one of our very formidable leaders within this ecosystem. And of course, we would have us share a story and really share the MPMI experience and how far she's come and what she's currently doing and how she's been really transformed by just experiencing the programs through Ideation of Africa, as well as how she has grown and how our organization has scaled in the last 2 to 3 years. So, Doreen, I want you to do us the honors. Let us meet you. I don't want to assume that those tuned in know you. Of course, you're a global leader, and you have, I would say, you have a skilled influence. Why do you? Hey, you don't want me to talk. I will talk.
Why are you doing this?
She's like, please,
This is
just
why
leave
you
us
doing this to me.
please, 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 let me talk, let me learn. The A cannot stop me from, giving accolades to whom accolades is due, giving the flowers, even the old forest, to whom the forest is due, right?
Mm.
So please let me do the honors, right? So yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you. I can see Lady Miracle in the building. She's giving us the fire emoji. Thank you for tuning in this evening or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. So I was psyching, not psyching. I was really just pouring so much accolades and presenting the old forest to Doreen. Doreen has been one of our formidable leaders and visionary change makers within IHA as an ecosystem, and we have seen a radical evolution in the last, I can almost say maybe 3 to 5 years. And we
Mhm.
bless God because all the glory goes to God. But at the same time, we have seen her be a steward of the wisdom and insights that she's interacted with through our learning programs at IHA and just literally steward this insight into scalable systems and initiatives through our diverse expressions. So
Mm.
I would want you, Doreen, to share with us. Let's meet you. But also, whilst we're meeting you, kindly share briefly your personal journey and what spurred you into the not-profit or social impact space. What was
Okay.
that literally? Can you hear me? All right, over
Yes,
to
I
you.
can hear you, ma.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for the plenty accolades. I received all of them. And I'm grateful. It's such a privilege to do this with the global DTB. I mean,
Thank you.
my seat is shaking. All right.
Hey,
Okay,
Doreen
so
that
my name
sits
is
before
Doreen.
world leaders. Don't mind how. All right, speak about yourself.
Right. My name is Doreen Omosele, and I am the privileged executive director of Blossom Girls Outreach Foundation. For me, I'm just a girl that loves people with a heart for women empowerment. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of three beautiful girls. What else? Yes, I think that's just about it for me. I'm a creative. I love to do hard things. Yeah, so I think that's me. So
Love it.
she said to share my story, right? My
Yes,
journey
please.
briefly.
Your
Okay.
journey. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So when I was in university 2015, that was when I, had this impression in my heart that reaching out to sex workers is what I was born to do, right? So I spent the few 2 years in my undergraduate days basically just preparing. Even when I finished school, I went to intern with Pathfinders initiative. Pathfinders just did an initiative by Roti Dausa in Benin. They deal with trafficked girls and all. I interned with them very briefly. I went for NYC, and when I went for NYC, that was when I had the impression to start, and I was led to start the first Brochel outreach in Calabar. And when I got to Calabar, that was when I knew that, okay, this thing is not a joke. I met a 15-year-old girl who had no mother, who had no father, who started prostitution at the age of 13. The chairlady uses her for money. She can't count how many men she slept with. So I remember leaving that brothel. We had such a great time. I met a couple of other ladies too in their teens, 18, 19. I met older women too. So when I got back home, I cried my eyes out for days. I felt really bad that I couldn't do anything for that girl. I couldn't help her. I just left her there, and that was in 2017. So I just told myself that I can't just cry forever. I have to do something. And that was when the idea to start going out, to reach out to sex workers in brothels came from. That even if I cannot host them in a rehabilitation center yet due to limited resources, I said I was going to take the message of empowerment, a message of hope to them right in their brothels. And that's what we've been doing up until 2023, when we founded the rehabilitation center. We still even reach out to sex workers. We've done about 700 sex workers in Nigeria over the years. We've reached out to them, basically just sharing love and hope and empowerment, with them. So 2023, we established the first rehabilitation center in Nigeria. I like to call it Africa Most Beautiful Rehabilitation Center. Even though we started from a one room, but we started by admitting 4 girls. And yeah, this year we're scaling, we're doing 10 this year. So I think that's pretty much it. And okay, let me also share, I was awarded with the Governor Sanwo Social Impact Award this year as well. So thank you so much.
Exciting, exciting, exciting. Thank you for sharing with us. We also have in the studio with us our quintessential global Oluwaseyi.
Yeah.
How are you doing this evening, my darling?
Good
I
evening,
know.
everyone. Happy to
Good
be here.
evening.
Good
Good evening.
evening.
Good evening. Um, Thank you. I would really appreciate both you and Doreen for joining us amidst your very busy schedule as even visionary change makers and leaders of global institutions. We don't take this lightly in any way. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Doreen, thank you. So, listening to your story, I could almost draw so many lessons, and I don't even want to delve into the lessons yet because it will be like I'm taking a sneak peek into some of the insights you may want to share from your story. But I know that as our listeners are tuned in and just listening to the story, they can glean, one or two powerful insights. So thank you once again for sharing that story. So
Thank
I
you.
would also just love for Oluwaseyi to also share with us briefly, introduce herself. We know that she's a global leader as well, and she's quite influential, just like Doreen. But we know that there
She's
might
the
be
real
people.
global figure. We are
Uh-uh.
upcoming. We are upcoming.
Don't mind Doreen. Doreen's trying to be humble. Don't mind that, Jerry.
Mm.
All right. So, but yeah, she's spitting facts actually.
Yeah.
Um, so, as I was saying, would love for you to introduce yourself and, of course, share with us briefly your personal journey into this social impact or development space. How has that been? Just briefly, because some other questions we would ask, we sort of elucide or also sort of expand on some of the insights that are hidden in your story and journey thus far. So over to you, Oluwaseyi.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on this training, and also it's a delight to connect with you, Mrs. Doreen. So
Thank you. Same
yes,
here.
yeah. So when I was 16 years old, I was in SS. I was in SS2, attending Queen's College, Lagos at that time. I got to hear about the Sustainable Development Goals. So at that time, that was 2017. Yes. So around that time, it was just 2 years after they had like the UN had started like modified the Millennium Development Goals to the Sustainable Development Goals, right? So that was in 2015. So in 2017, I got to hear about an essay contest by a by an NGO in Lagos, Nigeria, as at that time called the Nigerian Child Initiative, which is now known as the New Child Initiative. And I decided to like explore. So genuinely, the reason why I took an interest um was because first of all there was a prize. Then secondly, I was curious, right? So over time I got curious, and it's interesting to see how much God has done so far through that moment of like curiosity. And really that particular moment taught me problem solving skills, very useful problem solving skills that helped me to begin to think of myself as a problem solver, value creator, um and solution provider. So from that time, the question they asked me was how could I achieve sustainable development in my school? So what I started to see was what SDG did I want to solve. At that time was SDG 6. And then shortly after trying to do what I could do with the little things I had, literally I had to start with what I had, right? I literally had well nothing except a few teachers that were willing to believe in a young girl's vision at that time. And then shortly after, the following year, I got an award for my
Mm.
efficiency, and by the grace of God, I had $100 grant. Now, $100 grant at that time was 36,000 naira. That was 2018, and I was just 17 years old. And I remember that morning when I was thinking of, oh, if I were to win the grant, what would I do with it? And then what came to my heart was, I was really tired of the plastic pollution crisis in Lagos. Every time you look one side, it's always like dustbin, and young people were not meaningfully involved in like solving the issue, and I wanted to close the gap. And so I decided to start just going to schools, but little did I know that that was going to morph into an NGO. So I had a group of my friends from secondary school then that showed interest in volunteering, and then little by little it began to take form. And then I even got to learn about the concept of an NGO. I got to learn about the concept of a grant, how that looks like. I saw myself in rooms that sometimes I was not really understanding at that time as a teenager. I was not really understanding what they were saying, but those things that were being said challenged my mind, like helped me to like, it made me feel uncomfortable with like settling. And then I also had a very strong vision, right? I saw myself as someone that wasn't just going to go through life as an ordinary person, that really wanted to impact lives, right, and generations and nations. And I really saw myself as a global figure, actually. And to the glory of God, it's now this is my 8th year. I'm currently 24, and to the glory of God, God has really done the impossible, literally, because everything I have right now, if you had told me when I was 16 years old, because I know where I come from, right? I actually grew up in Port Harcourt, and I come from a very average family. So if I told me that all the things I achieved, I would have achieved it, it just feels like a dream. So I'm literally living in my best realities, and God still promises more. And the beauty about it is, what I would say is, what I would draw out of this is, number one, solving problems, like having that ability to look beyond yourself to see how you can solve societal problems is very quintessential, whether you're at the local level or the global stage. These two things, it's a very necessary skill, problem solving skills. Secondly, maximizing opportunities. Like everybody has an opportunity every single day. We have time. We have the same time, like the same time you have now. That's the same time, 24 hours, that Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Amazon CEO has. But the question is, how well can you use the time, right? How well are you involving others? Because most time when it comes to like building a big vision, not, you don't have all the time. Do you understand? So how well can you maximize the opportunities available to you, starting with the time that you have? So for me, I was a 16-year-old then that I was young, so I had time, right? Instead of me just lounging away during class, like reading classes, I was looking at ways I could create change and put my mind to good use, and not just stop at complaining about issues, and also involve my classmates, my peers. So that's a summary of my story. So I literally went from picking, if it's a my story in one sentence, I went from picking plastic bottles to speaking on global stages and securing awards to the glory of God. Yeah.
Wonderful, brilliant, powerful. I must highlight, just like Oluwaseyi just highlighted, that both Doreen and Oluwaseyi are young global leaders, right? Young global leaders. So it's just so powerful to see what they are doing with their youth. And please don't make me sound sarcastic. I'm also young, oh, before someone would then think that maybe DCB is so old. I'm young too. But you understand the context of the emphasis of that statement, right? And just listening to Oluwaseyi's story, just like Doreen, we could also see that, powerful connecting dot of what was a trigger, right, to their next level. And I love how Oluwaseyi highlighted something powerful around time. Time being a currency of value that should not be devalued, right? And she highlighted it that we all have time, and there's a way, especially the younger ones, can look at time and say, I am young and I have time. So that means I can waste away my youth because I maybe I still have some time to catch up. But look at young change makers who are maximizing their youth youthfully. So powerful insight once again from Doreen. I also love again how she spoke around, the concept of problem solving and again maximizing opportunities. And look at that phrase. She went from what? Picking plastic bottles to what? Global stages and winning awards. Right? And that is almost the same testament of Doreen who is with us. So thank you for sharing those powerful stories. Indeed, there is power in our stories, and just listening into your stories can never go old. There is always so much gold to elicit from your stories. So now I will go back to Doreen, and I would have asked this question. And whilst I'm asking Doreen that question, I want Oluwaseyi to just prepare to also answer that question. And it's really around, what was that defining moment, right? That defining moment, um, doing this work within the social impact space, that sort of strengthened your resolve to commit to this assignment. because it's an assignment. What was that defining moment? And it could even be defining moments, but share with us, what was that defining moment?
Oh wow. Okay. So I think I have a perfect example. Um, the defining moment will be when we felt led in our hearts to relocate from Lagos to Ileife to start the rehabilitation center. While I was a student, I also had that instruction to that the first rehabilitation center we owed, would start from Ileife. But I just, felt the instruction is not a big deal. So I got married and then went to Lagos to go and join the hustling and bustling, not knowing that Lagos was not supposed to be where we would start. And when we got that instruction to start in Ife, like I was reminded again, and we relocated to Ife. That was December 2022. We got a place where we were going to start the rehab. But of course, when you are trying to do something, good, you're trying to, birth a change in a society, in a community, there are forces and things that would, stand against you, challenge you that, oh, this thing cannot stand. So I had that. And it was through the property owner. She just sort of began to throw some funny tantrums, and she got, really agitated, and she said we should leave. We already had one beneficiary in the property at the time. In fact, there was a period that the landlady locked us out, saying that until she's done with her prayer, she went for her prayers, that's when we would have access to the building. Until she said, you know what, you guys should pack your load and be going. And at that time, we had about, two other girls from the hotel who were saying that, see, we want to come to the rehab. Where is the rehab? And we're saying we don't have a home. That period, I cried. I mean, I shed tears. I went to prayer. I went to pray that, God, you have to help me. You have to do something about this. And that period, I noticed that I was really resilient, because what transpired during that season could have actually made anybody pack up the vision and say, you know what, I don't think I can do this, because we literally combed the entire Ile-Ife for like 5 months looking for a property, and we couldn't find something befitting. So it was tiring. But I kept telling myself that this is what I know I'm meant to do. This is what God will have me do. This is what He said to do, and He said to do it here. And I kept that resolve so strong in my heart until one day I just knew where to walk to. I walked up to the place and I saw a vacant place there, and that was when we started. Yeah. So that period for me was really defining, and I learned not to give up, not to back down in the face of opposition, or circumstances that are not palatable. Yeah. So that was it for me. So if you're listening to this, if you have like a good vision, you want to make the world a better place, know that there will be opposition. There are things that you go through in your organization that will make you pack up. When I read about startups who have crashed, it literally breaks my heart, because I know that somewhere along the line, if they are just, um, being more resilient, they would have scaled through and passed through that phase. Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you for sharing. Over to you, Oluwaseyi.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. So I think I have a number of those moments that were very pivotal. The first I would say is when I had the opportunity to see firsthand, and this is what solidified my why, because as a social innovator, tying back to what Mrs. Doreen just said, you need to really, I'll just coin it this way, you need to really know your why, because when you face the toughest challenges, you don't know your why is like an anchor, really. And if you don't know your why, it's like when you're on the storms of life, literally, in building social innovation, you can literally be thrown anywhere, and you can even sometimes forget your mission, your vision. You can even make, if you're not careful, if someone isn't careful, such person can even forget like their values and settle for less, or make mistakes that they regret later in the future. So what you should do, or make decisions rather. So what, because as a executive director, CEO, you're basically an executive, you're focused on making decisions that can help your team execute the vision and mission. So the point is you have to have your why. And for me, what solidified my why First of all, my why was young people, yes, and I wanted to solve problems at first, but later on I got to see firsthand how plastic pollution was causing so much environmental injustice. So around the period of 2021 to 2022, I had opportunities to visit an actual community. The particular community is in Bariga, Ilaje, and I saw firsthand how plastic pollution was making people poor, right? So let me just make it as simple as that. So previously, people would go to, fishermen would go to the ocean and go and harvest fish, and they can sell it. So during that period, a particular one of the largest broadcasters in Germany reached out to me to do an interview with me, and then we had an opportunity to actually go to a school, one of the schools that we're working with, and it was our fellows that were working there previously and a fellow and a volunteer. So I used the opportunity because I was in school, and I used the opportunity to now visit the actual school and see things for myself firsthand. And when I went there, we had an opportunity to interview some people, and it was really a very bitter experience. They were explaining how they felt neglected by the government, they didn't have waste management systems, and also more importantly, how, for instance, their community was known for a particular kind of fish, but right now, at that time, which was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they don't even see that fish anymore like that. It was very, very like scarce. So you can imagine that fish was a major economic like value to adding economic value to it. So people would come and harvest fish, they can sell fish. But what happens now is people will literally go to the ocean and come, and all they're harvesting is plastic. So let's say you used to spend hours before and you could get, let's say, 100 fish, for instance. And now imagine spending more time and then getting even less, maybe like 10 fish. So you see how the plastic is really literally taking the space of where fish should be, suffocating. And not just that, plastic has chemicals. So under those kind of temperatures, plastic is releasing those kind of harmful chemicals. It's also concerning to human health, right? So when I now let me point the point here. What led me to a pivotal moment was research, and that's one thing I want to encourage every social innovator to do, right? You need to be the most, work towards being the most knowledgeable about your issue. Don't just settle at the kind of facts that you find online, or because most times if you go online, most times for something like an environmental issue, what you would find is probably um facts from other kinds of regions, like those regions, and somebody puts it there. Somebody made the effort to put it there. So the question is, you as an NGO leader, what efforts are you making to also do your own personal research? Because let me now explain what happened. When I was able to interact with the issue more closely, I also went deeper into more research, even online, and that's both desk research and field research with my team. Guess what? That inspired me with more information to build better, lasting solutions, right? And shortly after, when I even had a global spotlight moment, when CNN reached out to me, DW shared my story, I had my news on my face on TV and all that, newspapers and all that. I was not empty. Like I had what to share with the world about the issue. And it wasn't just the same stuff. It was unique lived experiences of people, not just because I wanted to just share it, but because I wanted solutions. And the thing about learning more about the thing about as a young leader, social innovator, you need to spend time with the problem you're solving, right? So that was a very pivotal moment for me. And then also having time when my story blew up literally. Then the third time I would say is when I decided to take my capacity building seriously. So for a very long time, that was 2019. I was 18 years old, and that period I was just like I didn't really know. I was really like still immature. And I felt really like out of place. First of all, I was young, so most times when I go to places, I'm the youngest in the room. There was the ageism thing where people look down on you because you are young, and they feel that what do you even know? And then number three, I was failing because I actually did not also know a lot at that time. I was just passionate. So I remember getting angry and saying that, you know what, I will just focus on building my capacity to be the best I could be. And then that was one of the best decisions I have ever made in my entire life. And if you look at the Bible also says that my people perish because they lack knowledge, right? So one of the best advice I will ever give to any social innovator, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever country you are, is build your capacity. And if you see that, that mirrors research, mirrors getting trained by the best and the best, mirrors a lot of things, mirrors even do your own personal research. Go outside there before you launch solutions to the public or the world. Who has done what you're doing? What mistakes have they made? What lessons have they learned? So that you don't go and repeat failed cycles and waste time and money. In the social innovation sector, money is very money is very plenty in quotes. So you have to know that they don't just give. That's why funders are very careful. They don't just give money to people anyhow, because money is important. Money is precious. So they want to be sure that you know what you're doing, so they're not wasting their money and time and resources. And you also need to not waste your time and resources of that of your volunteers, your partners, and whatnot. So please spend time. The way that you convince and you can say, you know what, I know what I'm doing, is by investing in yourself. Be the most be, Work on being the most knowledgeable you can ever be in your sector. And when it comes to programs, other things like programs management, operational aspects, and all that, be the most knowledgeable as you can about the problem as well, because you can't say you want to solve a problem without you want to solve a problem without understanding really what the problem is. And don't just jump into communities and start saying, you know what, I want to help you, I want to help you. Ask the people that you want to help. Like, don't just go there and start assuming things and pushing things on them. No, spend more time on research. So I will end with this quote. I think it was Albert Einstein that said, Albert Einstein that said that if he had, like, was it 1 hour to spend on solving a problem, you first of all, sorry, okay, I don't know the quote. I'll find the quote and I'll send it. But basically, spend a lot more time on the problem, right? Instead of just jumping into like understanding the problem before you jump into solving. Yes, but if he had some time to cut a tree, he will first of all sharpen the axe, right? So literally, one of the ways you can sharpen the axe is by understanding the problem you want to solve. Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you also for sharing powerful insights from both of our speakers this evening. I must highlight that our speakers that you see here are also investing in their growth. They walk the talk. So just like Oluwaseyi highlighted, the importance of capacity building, she's both a facilitator at the forthcoming non-profit program management intensive, but she also paid to be what? A participant, to sit in the room. As in, can you beat that? Right? She didn't say, oh, because I am coming in as a speaker and facilitator and I'm coming with wealth of wisdom, I should not be in the room. She understands and understood the value, right, of being trained and going on the path of continued knowledge, because you don't outgrow knowledge, right? You don't outgrow knowledge. We are always on that path of learning and growth. So I just thought to highlight that once again. Thank you for this powerful insight. Now, moving on to a very powerful question that I would love to ask around running non-profit, um, a non-profit organization. You both are executive directors, founders of formidable, institutions, of course, which are almost like mid-level of organizations. Share with us, what are some of the challenges you may have experienced managing or running non-profit programs. That's one. Some of these challenges may be unique. Share some of these unique challenges and also share with us what has been the toughest program you have managed so far and what lessons did you curate, right, from that experience. So share with us. I would start with Doreen, then come back to Oluwaseyi. Thank you.
Okay. The first question is, what as please, can you help me?
The challenges, unique challenges faced
I got the
with.
second one accurately well,
Okay,
but the first
share
one.
some of the, yes, share some of the unique challenges that you may
Okay.
have experienced or
Running.
encountered in running
Thank
non-profit
you.
programs. Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Oluwaseyi, she's just spilling a lot of tea, so my mind is in different places. All right. So running an organization, a non-profit organization. If there's one thing that one of the challenges we have faced is access to funding. Um, but I would say that being part of Ideation Hub Africa's ecosystem really helped me, and I would like to point towards my first NPIM, which was in 2023, and that was when DDK, the ED of IHA, she was sharing. It was intense. I remember Friday after the virtual session, I could not sleep. I literally stayed awake all through. till the following day for Saturday. And when I was going back, to Osun State, on the road, I was penning down, like, I need to do something about the things that I have been, exposed to, even DTB session as well. So I remember right in the vehicle, I came up with a funding program, and I called it Blossom Angels. I got my inspiration from something DDK shared in the room. She began to speak about how one can simplify funding, how we can actually make funding not look like one big mountain. If you there's a way she said, I'm not going to spill it. If you want to, yeah, maybe you should go and access the course and all of that. So I decided that, what, I am going to create a structure around our funding, and I came up with a name called Blossom Angels. And I spoke to my tech team. We put it on our site, and we had different tiers of Blossom Angel donors and all of that and all of that. That really helped my organization to crowdfund times 10. Usually before, we'll just throw it out there, put account number and all of that. But when we actually had it on our website, there was a structure there. All you have to do is just click the link, and whatever it is you need, is there. It really helped us. And then the second question would be on this. Please, can you help me? The second question.
Hear me, Doreen?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't think I can hear you. Okay, I think I get the second question now. Oluwaseyi, can you hear me? I think DTB is frozen.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Do we wait until she's back? Okay, so let me
I think
just go.
yes, you could go.
Okay, let me just continue. So, one of the difficult moments we faced in my NGO, I would say, I think she said it, the most difficult programs rather. I remember now. It's basically, oh, she's out of the room. Okay, so one of the difficult programs that we faced in my non-profit is actually the rehabilitation program, rehabilitating the girls. For years, we've done outreach, to brotels and all of that. Of course, we have a way around, relating with stakeholders in that sense. The chairman, the directors of the brotels, and all of that. You have our way around that. But this time around, we wanted to absorb the girls, mentor them, put them through mind engineering and all of that. It came with his, own basbos. It was a lot, because these are people that they've been used to a certain lifestyle. You are now telling them that, oh, you know, they should start to, behave in this certain way, act in a certain way and all of that. It was a lot. At some point, I was telling my husband that, are you sure? Oh, welcome back to TB. So sorry about that.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I was just sharing
you.
about the difficult programs that we've had. Yeah, and yeah, I think that was the second
Yes, yes.
question. So I was saying that it's actually in the place of rehabilitating the girls, when they, leave the brothel. That was a lot. 2023, 2024. If not that I had, I knew my why, like she said, and I would say that I was called for this, and to a great extent, I've been trained for this. I would have said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Imagine getting calls that, hey, they want to break somebody's head. Somebody said you will stab somebody. Somebody has carried somebody like this. Imagine one of our beneficiaries was pregnant and she hung somebody, on the wardrobe. My matron was going through a lot. I mean, it was a whole lot of emotional drama. So people management, crisis management has been one of the things that we have had to go through and learn. while going through our rehabilitation program. We're still on it and we have built capacity. That's why we are doing like 10 this year. So, one of the things that I learned in that season is the concept of tough love. Usually, I used to be very, very mushy, mushy with the girls. Oh, because I love them so much and I want to sincerely help them. But I had to learn the concept of tough love. I had to evict two ladies from the rehab home when I noticed that they had um, unbearable case of entitlement mentality. I was like, you know what, this cannot work. So we, wrote them a letter saying that you are evicted from the program. So yeah, that's been one of the things and I feel that's what being part of IHA would do for you, because there's something DDK used to say, that passion without knowledge is poisonous. Because I was always very,
Yes.
very passionate. In fact, I was so passionate that I even wanted to live with the girls at some point. I wanted, when I was in NYC, I was like, I'm going to rent a house, I'm going to live with the girls. It was one of my mentors that told me, don't even do that. I was even saying that when I get married, I will have the girls live with us. I was that passionate that I did not even have some sense that, oh, when I get married, I'll have the girls live with us and all of that. Now I'm in retrospect, I'm like, who does that? My marriage would have just been chaos, would have been chaotic. So DDK will always say that passion without knowledge is poisonous. So being able to go through IHA programs helped me and my team. I didn't just expose myself to the training. I intentionally exposed my team to IHS trainings, and we'll talk about it. We'll make reference to it. So we began to set structures that has truly helped us in managing internal conflicts and crisis management, and managing the girls as we do the rehabilitation program. So yeah, I love IHA for how they basically simplify the work that we do. You'll be having in your heart, fire is burning on the inside of you, but IHA helps you unpack to see that this fire that is burning in you, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, this fire will end up, destroying both you and the thing you're building. So yeah, thank you so much. That's what I'll say.
Thank you so much for sharing powerful insights, powerful lessons that you have highlighted. I love again just the emphasis around the fact that the lessons gleaned or the insight gleaned from being on board the program were acted upon. So it's one thing to attend the program, it's another thing to take actionable steps in the direction of the insights learned. So many people would always look at capacity building programs as, what are they all doing? It's not the same thing they're all saying. When actually they don't take action on the things they learn. So they then feel that the programs they are attending are fruitless. When in actual sense, they are the ones not taking action or taking both intentional and bold actions. Because just as you rightly said, it was from one of the programs that you stepped into clarity of what to do. It was bold, it was new, it was fresh. You had never done it before. I'm sure it was something that was very uncomfortable, but you went past that comfort, the feelings, and you went ahead to execute. So those were powerful insights shared with us. So
So
over
let me
to
also add
Oluwaseyi.
this,
Okay, all right.
and also being in the room, hearing possibilities shared. See, in fact, I remember Shei's session last year. Was it, no? Was it last year? I think it was last or early this year. Yeah, you know, seeing a young girl on a global platform and all of that, we don't even know the power that those things, what they do to our mind. Hearing, the facilitators share certain things, that this is what was possible. I remember MPIM 2023, DDK shared how that she raised one figure like that. I was like, eh. I was like, it did something to my mind. I was like, you know what, this thing is possible. Seeing this young girl share how that she has, used what the vision that she has, and she has gone through several programs, awards, and global stages, it does something to your mind. And I think, was it August, I had my first global stage, and this was after, hearing about the success of
All right. Okay, I'm sure she'll be back with us. I think there is a glitch on Doreen's side. She will be back with us. So, Oluwaseyi, over to you. Yes.
Would you mind just saying the question briefly?
Okay, so one is I was highlighting the fact that running nonprofit programs can be very challenging. They come with their unique challenges. So I wanted you to share with us what has been, or I like some of the toughest programs that you have run, and what lessons did they leave you with? What lessons did you curate from those experiences, running those nonprofit programs? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share. So I'll just make it concise. One of the things that one of the biggest things you have to deal with as an executive director is decision making, and it's called executive decision making. That means that literally, when you make decisions, it can impact and influence people's schedules, performance levels. So the nature and quality of the decisions that you make, right, impact the entire growth of your organization. So people feel that think that, oh, they don't really decisions don't really matter per se, but those decisions, they need to be made with insight, not just by guesswork. More importantly, they need to be communicated with clarity. And when you don't know what you're doing, when you're not clear on what you're doing, you cannot lead a team properly. And that's why you see that sometimes people don't know how to keep people for a long time. Why? Because they don't probably have clarity on where they are going to. So let's say, for instance, I want to I want us to go somewhere, me and the DTB, and I just tell her, please follow me, let's just be going. And she's asking me, where are you going to? And I'm like, just be following me, don't worry, we are going. Let's just be going. And as we're going, money and time is being wasted, fuel is being wasted, right? But if I tell DTB that, oh, I want us to go to maybe Dubai, and she asked me, why are we going there? I tell her, oh, I want us to go there because I want us to get trained. If you get trained, so what benefits would it be? I explained to her. She's more convinced and ready, right, to go. And if we come back, we can train more people and all that. So she sees and she has similar interests and she says, oh, yes, I want to go. She doesn't want to say, told me, oh, no, I don't want to go. Do you see that? And also, if I have a vision and DCB doesn't align with my vision, I don't even tell her in the first place because I know maybe she doesn't have the same interest. So what I would say is that as much as the many challenges I've faced, one of the things that I'm grateful to God that I was able to like navigate was managing human resources. Because a lot of time people feel that, oh, funding is the biggest issue, but the truth is actually funding is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue so far, in a very large sense, is human resources. Because even funders, well, this is, by the way, I'm not saying that there's no one answer to it, please. I'm just telling you that, like, what I've noticed, right? Because even funders, the reason why funders give out funding is because they're also looking for people that can solve the same problem, but they have the right competency. And we have a lot of people that are passionate, they're excited about change making, they want to create impact, but they lack the competence level. Number two, they lack the system because in the end you're just one person. And as a passionate person, a passionate leader, you always have passion. So passion is your fire that keeps, is very important. You don't have passion, you can't do this work, it's very hard. So you have passion, right? And most times even when you don't have passion, you have discipline. But the question is, you can't put yourself in harm's way. If you try to, you cannot drive, nobody can. It's not wisdom. You know how big an international plane is, right? It's very big. It takes an entire crew, right, to arrange the plane, people come into the plane, and then carry people from the ground up. It's difficult if just one person has to do all that. So the point is that you need a crew to take off, like to take your project from one particular level, right, to another particular level. Otherwise, you'll be crawling. And the issue with that is that you will get tired and you can give up, right? Imagine if you have to crawl from here to the US. It doesn't make any sense. So sometimes you need to fly. And the question is, you cannot fly alone. So you need to carry people with you. Need to have a crew that can carry your vision and then it goes towards where you're going to. So for me, the biggest has been with humans, and I'm very passionate about my team members. I'm very passionate about investing into their well-being. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I'm working actively towards perfection. And I love that Mrs. Doreen talked about tough love, because that's the truth. I'm very strict with my team members. I'm not toxic, definitely not. I'm very strict with them in terms of discipline, performance, metrics level. And if I want to be strict with them, I have to strict with myself. Yes. So my work ethics on has to model the kind of work ethics that I desire for them. So the question is, now as a leader, you cannot govern somebody else if you have not governed yourself. Now we have a lot of NGO leaders that say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you look at their work ethic, it is awful. And I'm sorry, if nobody has told you the truth, I'm here to tell you the truth. Please work on yourself. So when you say people management, it also starts with you as a leader. And that is why you need to go to some kinds of training. You need to take the hard currency. So in 2023, I took an investment, a huge investment at that time. I remember calling DDK and saying, DDK, how much is this program? DDK told me it was 100K for 2 days. I was like, that time I never spent that much money in quotes for 2 days. I was like, DDK, that was then, back then. And DDK was like, that should I was like, it was just foreign to me, but I had all my team members go, and I'm happy about 4 of us went, and our NGO had the budget for it at that time. And it was like a lot of investment at that time, but it has paid us in so many ways. Currently, some of my team members, like one of my team members now, he's doing his master's program. Other people are doing so well for themselves. I myself have not experienced the type of burnout, because before then I used to experience nasty kinds of burnout that was terrible. But ever since then, I haven't experienced burnout. And that year, 2023, was also very pivotal for me. My NGO secured one of the largest grants. So I'm just going to say that we secured over 100,000 USD at that year. Also I was also able to travel to numerous countries. So by the time I was coming back for the second time to attend that same program, which was the visionary retreat, I had traveled to 10 countries at that time when I was coming back in 2020. That's 2025, between a space of 2 years. All right. Before then, I had already traveled to a few countries, and it's not even about the traveling. I had traveled, I had built network, I had built connections, and when the money came, it was not like I was saying, "Oh, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing with the money." I knew how to manage the money, and I could do it confidently. Why? Because I had strategy. So what I'm telling you is that many times, while you can get free trainings, free things online, when you want to build a resourceful, resilient strategy that can help you as an executive make the right decision, which is called executive decision making, you need to invest in your future. And not just that, you need to invest in your people, right? And IHA takes the stress off you. IHA will help you to create the kind of curriculum, bring the kind of people that will push you out of that place of comfort, like where you think that, oh, I've achieved all this and all that. No, whatever you think you've achieved now, you can achieve even times 10 of that or times 100 of that. And it's not only about you. The problems we are solving, they are very big. We cannot afford to keep being mediocre social innovators. Just do one project here and there and then you clap for yourself. We cannot afford to do that. The problems we are solving are killing people. Yes, killing people every day. So it's not about you just saying, oh, my personal achievements. It's not about you feeling good with yourself. Are you actually creating change? And are you creating change at the scale that is needed? And if you can't do that yourself, how are you building the right systems that can help you create change at the scale that is needed, so that in 10 years' time, you're not saying, oh, we've done 10 projects. No. In 10 years' time, you're saying, oh, we've done 1,000 projects, and we have 1,000 other people that have done projects because of they came through our programs. I am just 24 years, and I'm not saying this to spite anybody, but I just finished my degree at law, and I've done 90 plus projects worldwide in a space of 8 years. It was not easy, but I'm happy that I spent my time well. So while we can clap for ourselves and say, oh, we are doing well, good. I'm just telling you that when you come to programs like NPMI, or you come to programs like IHA, or other kinds of programs of this kind of nature of world class, the concept is that you start to become world class yourself. You start to become the best in your field. And the kind of problems you're solving requires you to function at that kind of competency level. So I would say that clarity is super important, and I'm super happy that I have been able to benefit from that, because that has really solved other kinds of issues that I won't have the time to talk about. So I'm really grateful for IH, and I don't even know how else to explain how much of an impact, because that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of how much of an impact it has been to my life, that of my staff. Yes, staff, because we cannot actually even pay people like on a monthly basis, right? We have the knowledge to know how to do that, and by the grace of God, or by the grace of God ultimately. And number two, finally, also strategic planning for the future, right? How are we transitioning from time to time to accommodate the vision that we want to bet on earth on a large scale.
Yes, powerful. You can see our speakers. This is like a master class in a master class, right? And you can imagine already. I said it. These are world class leaders of leaders, both Doreen and Oluwaseyi. And Oluwaseyi, I must say, is one of our facilitators at the upcoming NPMI 2025. So if you have experienced that at this dimension, imagine what she's about to unlock, right, at the program itself. So please, again, I just love the insights shared by both Doreen and Oluwaseyi. So many things to unpack, and I don't want to repeat, the insights they have shared. If you want to listen to it, just watch the replay. Don't worry, right? But so many insights to unpack. And one thing that I think is ringing through both insights, powerful insights from Doreen and Oluwaseyi, is that posture to invest in the people. And I could also see that people centeredness in how they lead as leaders, and even in how they lead themselves, right? And it is being people centric that makes you understand that because you don't know it all, I have to be in the spaces and rooms where I can better understand both the internal stakeholders and internal stakeholders that I am called to serve. I can't do it in a silo operation. I can't do it in isolation. I have to get into that community. So they have said it all. And there is, let me not say they have said it all. There is still so much more to be said, right? And that's why we would say, come on board. Get you and your team on board NPMI. And I will be making a very delightful announcement in few minutes as we tidy out, this pre-NPMI masterclass session. Now, quickly, I will then, this takes me already, Oluwaseyi and Doreen have unpacked, how most of all the learning programs, the executive programs at IHA have been instrumental to their career development, their personal evolution, right? And even with the work they execute in the space. Now, the question I want to bounce off each of you is, we have formidable leaders, visionary change makers tuned in this evening or this afternoon. If you were to convince them to come on board NPMI 2025, in three statement sentences, or just sharing three insights, or maybe 3 points, as ZDK will popularly say, I have three things, just three things, right? What would that be? How would you? Already you have convinced them, but I just really want you to punch it further. You have done it. If anybody says, listening to both of you, they are not convinced, then maybe we need to conduct laying of hands in that sense. But I pass the baton to Doreen, and then I'll come back to Oluwaseyi.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oluwaseyi, for that powerful insight. So, if there's one thing about um, MPIM that I love so much, I would say that it is the insight. Let me use the word divine insight. That, yes, I'm telling you, the divine insight in IHA's meetings, their programs, is basically divine. I was still telling some of my teams that one of the win finders that DDK mentioned during the retreat is collaboration, you know. And one of my team member literally latched on that, concept, and she collaborated with an organization in South Africa. She's based in South Africa, and we were able to come up with an AI product, and that was even what brought about our first international trip where I got to speak in a global stage to present the product through that simple concept called collaboration. So I would say that if you are missing IHS program, you are missing out on divine insights. There are things that the facilitators would shun out, DDK herself would shun out, DDP herself would shun out, that could be your next level in your organization. I'm telling you, take it for real, take it from me. I'm telling you, They basically, I don't know how they do it, but they just know what you need to hear and what you need to move. So many things will be shared. Your head will be on fire. It's a, normal phenomenon for, people to say my head is burning. We definitely burn. But if you can literally spot your own word, it was in IHA that I was encouraged to tell my story, and to really latch on storytelling. And I can tell you, lashing on storytelling has brought me, sponsors that I don't want to say so much, but sponsors that have told me that how much is it to rehabilitate all the girls, and I've told them that is in 8 figures, and they're like, you know what, every month I'll be dropping 7 figures, and all of that, just by telling my story, owning my story. And I got that encouragement from IHA. I remember when I used to do this storytelling thing, there was one particular person around me then, in our own fairness of heart, she kind of discouraged me. And I felt like, what is it? Why? She was like, you are, saying too much, sharing your story, you're letting people know, what's going on in your organization, like the things that you're going through. And then we hearing DDK mention during IPIM, and I think also the visioning retreat, that she loves how I tell my stories and how I involve social media. It really encouraged me to, hammer on it. And that was, when this year we got our biggest visibility by telling one particular story of one of our girls. So I would say that sometimes you need to be in a room where you don't just get knowledge, but you also get encouragement. I'm telling you, some of you, what you need is someone to really encourage you, to tell you that, see, you're actually on the right track. People around you, they may mean well, but they don't have the expertise. I remember the CEO of, is it bookings.com, he was sharing a business idea with his mother, that I want to do this thing. And his mother discouraged him, that he cannot do it, he can't work. And he said, that's true. You've never done this thing before. There are people around you that they don't have an idea what it means to run social impact work. And they are your friends. They'll be telling you this one, they'll be telling you that one. What you need to be in a room of people who are doing the work, who have handled it, who have, they are in the work. Let them tell you what is possible. Let them inspire you. And that's why I would want to encourage you to be part of NPIM. It will never leave you the same. I'm telling you,
Thank
it's
you.
going to be the best
Yes.
decision you will make in your organization. Yeah.
Thank you already. And you can see Doreen, Oluwaseyi has done it. They have leveraged the power of storytelling in even how they have churned out insights, right, this evening. Thank you, Doreen. If I were not uh, a cost stakeholder within IHE, just listening into both Oluwaseyi and Doreen, I'm sold. I'm sold already. Not mixing words, and I'm not trying to flatter you both, but I'm sold. So over to you, Oluwaseyi.
Okay, so I just want us to reflect on the fact that we all need to have the ability to do something. Most times, as social impact innovators, the reason why you're struggling is because you actually don't know, right? And when you don't know something, it's like trying to, like a plumber trying to fix a broken sink without a tool, right? So knowledge is like that too. Knowledge is power. We've always heard the concept knowledge is power. But someone even said something more important. He said knowledge is power if you act on it. If you don't convert knowledge into action, it will remain a source of untapped energy. That's said by someone else. I'm just like emphasizing that. And what is power? Power is the ability to change things. We're solving most of the world's toughest, most wicked problems, right? In fact, the UN cannot even solve it. That's why they're asking for us to come together to deliberate on it. And it's only wisdom to actually, when you see opportunities, seize them. Don't procrastinate. Don't don't delegate what you ought to do right now, right? So after this call, just take a few minutes, 3 to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, make a decision on whether or not where do you want to see yourself in the next 6 months from now. The fact is that 6 months from now will come. That's the fact, whether you like it or not. But what you do now can determine where you will be in the next 6 months, right? Or where you will not be in the next 6 months. So if you want to still stay where you are, right, and you're comfortable with where you are, that's fine. But if you want to have a better transformation in your personal development, your team, your life, and more importantly, the beneficiaries that you're working with, and the situation you want to solve, then make those kinds of decisions that you've never ever made before. And one of those kinds of decisions include investing in yourself. Benjamin Franklin once said, "The best knowledge pays the best interest," right? So it's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be with you. So this is one of the best ways you can invest in yourself and tell yourself thank you after a long year of doing all things social impact. This is the ninth month, and one of the ways you can say tell yourself, you know what, you're doing great work is by learning some more, pushing yourself out there, getting yourself more comfortable, interacting with tougher things that can challenge you to a better and bigger vision, right? So I really want to encourage you to make that decision. And I'll just say, what one last thing I would say is that at any of DDK's or IH's program, you don't just talk about, we don't just come and start talking. No, you will go back with a lot of tools, right? Materials, you keep on writing, things you keep on writing, reflecting on, things you also go back with actionable takeaways that you can begin to take action even immediately. You start to write down things because it's like as if it's scales falling from your eyes. You start to see those things that you're not doing well and those things that you can do better. And you just feel more motivated to actually take action. Do you see that? And it's also systemized so that you don't get overwhelmed. So she'll tell you some kind of systems that you need to put in place to begin to introduce, because you don't just go and take a full dose of malaria medicine. No, you take it in bits and pieces. So she'll show you not just her, all of that facilitators will show you how to administer these necessary things that you need to administer to your organization's growth, little by little, or at the pace that is needed, so you don't get overwhelmed. Because listen, as an NGO person, social innovator, you can get easily overwhelmed with so much happening. But when you come to programs like this, they don't just throw information at you and tell you, oh yeah, go and do it yourself. No, they give you like the kind of tools too, because they can't always be with you, but they can give you the tools that you can use to break those things down into digestible, actionable takeaways that you can start to do little by little without feeling overwhelmed. So this is one of the best ways you can make a real impact in your life and that of your organization, and more importantly, your beneficiaries who need the change that you are trying to create. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you to our brilliant speakers. Um, this has been phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you. I highlighted earlier on, I am sold. If I were not a cost stakeholder, just listening to you both, I would just say, hey, how many team members do I have on board? I'm sponsoring them to come on board. Now, in light of that, I was also mentioned that even Doreen too also has sponsored our team members, ourselves, our team members are also partaking in MPMI. So just like Oluwaseyi, they are walking the talk. And this Oluwaseyi, from inception, the moment she encountered IHA, that's what she has been doing. She does not learn alone, right? She carries her people alongside. And same thing with Doreen. Do we capture? And these are our global ambassadors, and we're always so proud, right, to showcase them. So, in light of that, I want to say I can announce the little surprise that we have. Yes, thank you, Shay. Yes, please, you can. Thank you, Shay, for the time. Yes, we're rounding up already. Thank you. Bye for now. And we'll see her at MPMI 2025 coming up in what? In few days from now. That is in less than, I would say, 48 hours. From Friday, we will be in the room with our facilitators, myself in that room. We would have DDK the general, ourselves, our executive director. We would have Mr. Femi Taiwo. We would have Dr. Naomi Osemodwe. We would have Oluwaseyi, Jesuton. We would have Victor Onafomi, and we would also have Imade Osubani in the room, and my humble self as well. Right? You can just look at that lineup of powerhouses. Right? We are here to intentionally just pour so much into your growth, and we want you, right, to be a part of this. Do we understand that? And in doing so, it is my joy to announce that we are offering a 33% further discount, because the initial price was already discounted. But just that you are able to get yourself and your team members in the room, we are offering you a further 33% discount of the standard package. So, what I would encourage you to do, you can see the registration link scrolling through. The team will also put it up in the comment section and pin it. Please, the moment you see it, click on it and leverage it, right? That opportunity closes out in the next 24 to 48 hours because by Friday, we open up to the glorious unveiling of the nonprofit program management intensive 2025 edition. Another good news is that you'll be receiving a certification, right? It's certified. So you receive a certificate, right? That also certifies your participation. So click on the link. You can see it scrolling through. Leverage it. Leverage it, leverage it, leverage it. Not just you, but yourself and your team members coming on board and being in the room. It's also a strategic opportunity to network with like-minded change makers like yourself. Doreen will be in there. Our team will be in there, right? Other global leaders are also in there. It will be a great opportunity. We have had many people consolidate collaborations just by virtue of the communities that we run in IHE. We can run through this list, it's countless if you want to begin to run through it. And we are inviting you to this strategic opportunity. Be a part of it. Don't count yourself out. Do not count yourself out. And that's our encouragement and our charge to you this evening, this afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. So, in closing out, I only have Doreen, and I will just say, Doreen, please share your, I would not say your final words in that sense, but just share a parting word or parting words with the audience, right? Just share a parting or parting words with the audience.
All right, thank you so much, DTB, and to everyone that has been with us so far. I would say that it's been a very wonderful conversation, and one thing I would love to say is that if you are involved in social work, even though you are doing it not for profit, but make sure you're not doing it for loss.
Yes.
Yes, it's like one of the coming anchors, from IHA.
Yes.
Make sure you're not doing it for loss. Make
Yes.
sure that you are building your organization beyond your emotions. I have seen people who have tremendous vision. They have the passion, but when you look at the outputs, of their work, it's really discouraging. The output of their work in terms of positioning, in terms of their communications, their PR, and all of that, it's not giving the same, frequency and velocity that they are, that is in their heart. And that's because they are running with passion, only. They are not running with knowledge. My parting words will be, just come to IHA. I'm serious. Just come for NPIM. Things that DDK shared in that room, I'm telling you. In fact, there are things you will hear, you'll be like, is it DDK that is sharing this for? Like, what does she mean by this? Things that you thought they were not big deals, but they are actually really big deals. How you position yourself online, and all of that. And then I would love to also use the opportunity to thank DTB. She spoke about volunteering, management, and we had to bring her on board, into our organization to even train, and she has really helped us. We have a good structure of volunteers. So I would say that make IHA your social impact school. And there are not many social impact schools that are disinvested in, training social saviors. Yeah, I'll tell you that for sure. I started attending IHA 2018. I think, yeah, 2018. Or is it 2017? I think it was 2017, and I've not regretted it. So please and please, make sure that you latch on the program. I think I see the link. Please make sure you register, share with your team, and you will not regret it. Like Shea has said, if you really, really want to scale, you have to invest in yourself. When we were not investing in ourselves, we were not scaling. Yeah, I'll tell you that for sure. So please invest in yourself if you want to stand out. There are so many people doing non-profit. There are so many people. You will hear from one of our facilitators, Mrs. Naomi. I can remember a session in 2017 or so. She said that there are so many non-profit organizations. I just mentioned one kind of figure, like hundreds, and how many people are doing the work? Less than a percentage, less than 10% are doing the work. And really, if you want to stand out, please and please invest in yourself. I'm literally excited when people say that, oh, my NGO, people mention my NGO in rooms that I'm not there, and they recommend my NGO as like top NGOs to send sex workers to. And it's really because we know what we are doing, and we will not stop doing the work. So I want to encourage you, please keep on doing the work and also invest in yourself. Thank you so much.
Powerful. Thank you, Doreen, for again those powerful and I would say very instructional pattern words that you've shared with us. I would again say we have an array of formidable facilitators, right? Mr. Femi Taiwo was an executive director in Leap Africa. So you can imagine, right? Him being in the room, coming in. We have Imade Osubeni, right? And she is also a powerful impact maker and nonprofit leader. We also have Victor Onofumi. We also have Oluwaseyi Jesuton. You also have my humble self and Didike, the general herself, in the room from the 19th of September, which is Friday, into Saturday, the 20th of September. I would say one final thing. And what would that be? The final thing will be that, okay, I can see a question coming through. Yes, please. Vanessa, for the discount code, you don't need a discount code, right? Just click on the link. It's already discounted. Just go ahead to process your payment via the registration link. So you click on the link, you go to the standard package, which is the first tier, right? And then you go ahead to close out on your registration. I hope that helps you. Uh, that helps you. Yes, T-Bachi. Yes, please. So it was previously discounted and it was going for 150,000 naira. But now it's going for what? 100,000 naira. Do we understand? So further discount on the cost of 150,000 naira. That's what I'm saying. Does that clarify that? Yes. So just once you go to the link, click on the registration link, you see two tiers. You see the standard tier, you see the premium tier. Click on the standard tier. Once you click on the standard tier, you already see it's discounted and it's reading 100,000 naira already. And then you go ahead to process your registration. Is that clear, Tibachi? Please confirm that that helps. Excellent. All right. So I was saying that I will share a final statement, and that is to say, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Tibachi. And the final statement I want to share tonight or this afternoon is that you are responsible, right, for the change you desire to see in you and in your organization. So, in acting on that responsibility, you have to pay it forward. Do you catch it? You have to pay it forward. And you can see that we have been so generous to even offer varying degrees of discounts, right? Just to have you in the room. Do you understand that? And so pay it forward by taking action. You have listened to both Doreen and Oluwaseyi share today. All you need to do is to take action. And just like them, they continue to take action. They have made IHA their executive education institute in that sense, right? IHA also runs a social innovation school, and these programs are an array of our programs within the social innovation school. So, my charge to you today is to pay it forward by what? Investing in your evolution as a change maker. I look forward to seeing you come Friday when, during the welcome segment, we say, share with us. Are you joining us for the first time? You can boldly say, this is my first time of being on board NPMI, and it was courtesy the pre-NPMI Masterclass. We will look forward to welcoming you, I would say powerfully, right? And in such a very ceremonial fashion. So I would say, in rounding up today's session, I look forward to seeing you, and not just you, but all of your team members in the room from Friday into Saturday. So thank you once again to everyone who has tuned in and who will tune in to the replay. Take action, and we look forward to hosting you. I must also close out with something insightful. You would also have access to a post MPMI masterclass with DDK. You would also have access to that once you either you have registered previously or you're registering courtesy of the pre-NPMI masterclass. You would also have access to the post-NPMI masterclass with DDK. So that sounds exciting. We look forward to hosting you this year, and of course at more of our programs which will launch out later on this year. I would say bye for now, and I look forward to welcoming you at NPMI 2025. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.